Previously on my little Tacoma, we replaced the stolen catalytic converter, added a shield to prevent additional theft, fixed all the issues with the locks on the truck, and added a tailgate anti-theft device. Also, we installed the cheapest Bluetooth mod available on all these trucks. But today, we tackle one of the more difficult jobs because I need to figure out a way to paint match this grille to this truck. Oh, and this won't be a standard paint matching process because this truck has actually been resprayed before, and the color they resprayed it in is not a perfect match to this car's original paint. Thankfully, I believe I've come up with a method to get as close of a match as possible using just generic rattle paints. It's a slight bit disappointing how similar they are. How did those even get there? Where did a bunch of black hairs come from? Stay tuned to find out how it's done. Before I just start masking off these sections and painting, we need to actually remove the old grille so I can use that as a test dummy for my paint matching procedure. I honestly have no idea if this is going to work, but let me remove that grille so I can explain to you a little bit better. I think it should work. As you can see, the grille I actually have on here right now, it looks like it was spray painted at some point. You can actually see right there where the paint is starting to chip. This thing overall just looks honestly horrible. I hate the design of it, and I hate the tacky spray paint job that was done to it. Start with removing these clips and a couple of these bolts right here. Get this thing out. So now that we have this grille out, we can take a look at what my plan is. I have these two different kinds of primer, a normal automotive primer and then also a self-etching primer. What I got along with all that are 1, 2, and 3 different kinds of red spray paint. Now my plan with this grille is I'm going to split this in half, use one kind of primer on one side and this primer on the other side. Then once I have both of those two kinds of primers laid down, I'm going to take each paint and do a strip on each side of the primer. Now, based off my understanding, that should leave us with 2 different sets of shades for these 3 primers, leaving us with 6 total paint options to hold up to the paint I have and see what matches the best. Now, let me just go ahead and tape everything off really quick. So we did decide to paint this on probably the worst day possible considering all of the wind. However, I did get this plastic down, so that should prevent too much overspray from getting everywhere. First things first, we're going to go ahead and go in with this regular automotive primer. Now that's a good first coat. Remember, this is not going to be our finished piece. This is just going to be our test subject. That's why we're doing absolutely no prep before painting on this. So let's go ahead and give this a couple minutes to dry, and then we'll hit it with a second coat. Now the unfortunate thing is it is super windy. However, the plus side is it is very dry today, so this is all taking not a lot of time to dry between coats. Okay, we moved the painting booth. It's too windy. So while we wait for that paint and primer to dry, let's go ahead and start prepping the new grille by taping everything off and scuffing all the surfaces that will be painted and primered. Now I see why no one with a second gen Tacoma that has this grille ever has it painted like I'm gonna have it painted. This is genuinely the single worst masking off procedure I've ever done. I really, really hope this is worth it. Well, I finally finished taping off the entire grille. I did both the front and back on this mesh section. I'm debating on whether or not I want to tape these little vents off. I'm so sick of taping stuff off, I'm thinking about just painting them. We'll see. You'll probably see in one of the next clips what I decided on doing. Okay, now we can see we have the grille here primered up with the 2 different kinds of primer. Now it's time to start putting the streaks of the red in and see kind of what the results look like in the sun compared to the paint here on the hood. So again, I do just want to point out right now, remember on this grill, we're not putting any extra effort into prep. You know, normally you maybe want to sand this down, make sure it's nice and uniform. Here we have obvious some bad spots, but the only place I care about it being nice and uniform is up here on top again, where we're going to compare it to the hood. So what I'm going to do is start by taking one of these reds. I'm going to put a streak here and a streak here so we can compare between the two. And once that dries, then I'm going to move on to the next one and then on to the next one. So we have the 3 different kinds of paints. Now I understand there's going to be a little bit of overspray, so it might make things not super perfect, but I think the final result, once we're able to see what it looks like comparing, it's really going to be just good enough for the test. Again, this is just a test piece. So let me go ahead and get painting it. Well, we appear to have made a miscalculation. My paint is definitely more maroon than red. None of these match even close. I guess we need to go find some maroon paint, maybe? Okay, the new paint we got, I can tell it's still not perfect, but it's definitely better. Don't mind all the swirls and dirt in my paint, but the match between here and here, here and here, definitely is looking better. This is also one of the sections from the paints we had just got. I don't like that much, so we're going to stick with this one, I believe. Now, unfortunately, you can tell in lighting like this, it's still not, of course, an exact match. I am not expecting a perfect match with this. Could I have taken this to a paint shop, auto body shop, and had this properly matched and painted? Yes, I might still do that when having the bumper done. We'll see. But for right now, I think this is going to look close enough, and I think we really won't be able to judge it until I'm finished and we put it on the car for the final install. But on another note, this one looked ready for paint, I believe. I cleaned it off, tacked it off. I have it all scuffed up and nice, so it should be ready for paint. I'm going to move it over to the paint booth and then go ahead and get the primer on it. So I did a 3rd coat, and this is how we're looking. I'm pretty pleased. We do have a couple issues. A little hair there. I noticed earlier, oh, maybe another one right there. So I'm going to try and get those out before we do a clear coat, but I think it's looking good so far. Yikes. How did those even get there? Where did a bunch of black hairs come from? So I moved it over here just into the sun so it can dry a little bit better. But I think while we wait for this paint to dry, I have another project to do to this. Here at the seats, kind of dirty. When I bought this thing, they were a little bit dirty, but it doesn't help also having a puppy that climbs all over the seats, and it's been raining, so it's been a little bit worse than normal. So I have a little extractor, and I think I'm going to try cleaning the seats out really quick. We'll have to see what it looks like once it all dries, but it looks like a decent amount of that dirt was able to come out. I didn't even use any detergent on that, so don't expect great results, but it looks a little bit cleaner. So it's been like an hour or two. This has dried pretty good. I can touch it now, no problem. I'm gonna go ahead and start peeling off the tape and see how everything looks. I'm hoping for very minimal overspray. I mean, preferably none. So far, pretty good. Okay, I'm gonna peel most of this off and then check back in with you guys because my camera is almost dead. Okay, I have all the masking tape off, but before I show you the final result, I do want to show you when you order one of these, it doesn't show it as coming with all of this, but it comes with all of the lettering that you screw onto this bracket and then mount on from behind here in order to have the Toyota logo going across the front. So let me just finish off buttoning this up and then I'll finally show you guys what this looks like. Well, today, the sun started over there at the beginning of the video. It is now over there. Finally, I can say I am finished. Oh, let me show you. I am so insanely happy with how this came out. I mean, my paint job, not perfect, some imperfections, but I think it's pretty uniform, looks good overall. The grill itself just looks great. I mean, this is fantastic quality. I paid $100 for this. So let me go ahead and mount it and we can see how that match actually looks. Just looking at it right now next to the paint, definitely a little concerned. Well, I don't know if it looks any better with the truck turned around kind of facing the sun. Yeah, that's a bummer. There's also a little bit of a gap here, but there is a gasket that comes with it to put along here. I'm gonna wait on that because I think I'm going to attempt this again, but I'm gonna go ahead and get a paint can. So looks like our experiment today failed as far as the matching goes, but the rest of the job went fine. So I've actually decided we're going to suffer through redoing this in the same episode. I was going to post this video and then possibly just show you in the next video that I have this refinished with the correct paint match, but that felt lazy and incomplete. So let's go ahead and suffer through taping this off for a second time. But I want to keep high engagement, so we're not going to do the whole process. Well, looks like we are finally done. I think the match looks very, very close. Now, I went ahead and also added the little yellow lights in there. I didn't hook the lights up, so they don't actually turn on or anything. I saw in the reviews that a lot of these lights go out very quickly, so honestly, I'd rather just leave them all off and then never deal with the headache of one of them burning out and needing to replace them. But let me kind of bring you in closer so we can see just how close of a match it is. It's still not perfect, but compared to what we had before, it looks a lot better. Also, you know, it's painting on plastic versus metal, and you know, this paint job is fresh. It could still use a wet sand and a little bit of polish, which might kind of help darken the color a little bit. But right now, it looks very close. You know, just driving by, I'm sure you wouldn't notice that it's a slightly different color. Yeah, so I think really what we're seeing is mostly the kind of light reflecting off of this kind of rougher surface a little bit differently from the hood itself. Also, this hood I just had to freshly wax. It was a little bit lighter before waxing it, so when the guy actually went and matched the paint can, it was based off the faded look. So honestly, I bet in a month or so, when this hood kind of fades back again, it's going to be even closer of a match. But overall, I am extremely happy. So hopefully you guys learned something from this. I would say don't try and do what I did, especially not on a red like this. You know, if you're trying to match whites maybe or blacks, it'll probably come out a lot closer, but doing some kind of color, it's never going to look right doing it this way. Just go and get a matched paint can like I ended up having to do. Thank you again for watching. Hope you guys learned something today. Go ahead and leave a like, comment, and subscribe, and we will see you next time.